You guys there? You guys there? Okay. Okay. Let's just wait a little bit, get some people, and thanks for everybody for being here. Let me know, even though I probably can't do a thing about it, just let me know anyway, though, if there's any problems, sound or video-wise. And the other thing is, this is behind, like I'm seeing myself, it looks like at least like 30 seconds, so anyway. Let's see. I'm getting some questions already. So, hello everybody. Miguel, Derek. The B6 pickup I like a lot. I really never did an A/B test, I'll have to be honest with you. I just, you know, Howard from Benedetto Guitars just said that it has a little bit of a warmer tone. It wasn't whether it was better or worse, but so I just went with it. But I don't, like I said, I really never beat them, so I don't know. Just give it a minute. I couldn't pronounce the name who's saying that the audio is cutting out. Just give it a minute to kind of get into a groove here, because that's what happened last time too. But I'll wait till everything's kind of smooths out. So guys, let me know when things improve a little bit, if you're still having problems with the sound. Okay, then let's just get going here. There's a decent amount of people here, so let's just get started. So this little master class is going to be about comping on the blues. I get the questions all the time where people are always requesting that I do comping lessons, on my lesson site, tunes, and I've done a bunch of comping lessons. And the point I keep on trying to stress is that all the stuff that I show on any of those lessons is applicable to just about every single tune, So what I mean is that for me, the melody is the most important thing, and that's what does the decision making for me. Like, in other words, if I were looking at a lead sheet at a B flat blues, and I saw a chord symbol for B flat 7, we would all probably do the same thing and just grab this chord. But when you kind of exclude the thought of creating some sort of melodic content with your comping, that's where you just kind of go by automatic pilot and play these just stock voicings and it works. Honestly, it all works. More importantly than your voicing type, at least for me, is the pocket you create when you're comping. That's much more important. But that's not what this is about necessarily. But even if I B flat 7 chord here, to be specific, B flat 13. And if I wanted to play this for 4 measures, like I said, we'd probably all end up doing the same thing. 3, 4. And like I said, the groove, it's going to work. But if I just take this one shape and just with a little bit of melody, I can create so much just using the same voicing. So for instance, if I had so that was the melody I was hearing. Da, 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 da. So, but instead of going, this is where knowing a little bit about theory comes in. So in other words, I'm going to play So all I'm doing there is B flat 7, and then taking that next melody note, but instead of harmonizing it with a B flat 7, I'm harmonizing, you know, think of this as either B7, half step higher, or F7. F7, you know, altered. So, and the other harmonization was identical, except that the only thing that I'm doing differently is I'm putting the melody on the E string on the first example, or the first half of this example, and the melody on the B string on the second half. So again, if I were playing the end of the blues, coming to the top now. Okay, so that's kind of playing through the first four, just using like a really, really simple example, I think. Just one chord shape, but making note of your tones and doing some basic, I don't even know if I'd call it reharmonization. The technique I'm essentially something called the dominant approach, meaning that you can approach any chord by its 5. So here's a B flat 7, the fifth of B flat 7 is F7. That's what you're hearing there. Then the tritone of F7 is B. So B7. So those are my two options, you know. You know, so just with that little thing, I think your copy can just, you know, improve. So let's see. Okay, so nobody's really commenting on that, so I'll just continue to go. So with that aside, you know, I'm kind of giving you like a broad overview of, you know, the decision-making thing for me, you know, being melody. So let me I'll play through one or two choruses of blues, just utilizing this one concept that all the decision is based on melody, not on a chord voicing per se. So I'll just play through a couple of choruses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's two choruses through. I'm assuming, or I'm hoping, that you guys recognize most of the chord voicings, you know, that I'm using. So which really what makes, you know, what I did here maybe a little bit hipper than just, like I said, thinking of some real books playing stock chord voicings, is what I just mentioned to you. Is as I'm going through that, in my ear, I'm hearing these, you know, simple little melodies that are making my chord for me. In other words, even if I were to take the sound of going to the 4 chord, which is a big part of the blues, you know, getting to the 5th measure. So here's the top. So right now I know it's 2/5 to the 4. So it's F minor 7, B flat 7. Lower my guitar a little bit. But even with just that little sequence, it's a 2/5/1 for one measure. You know, it's a short 2/5. I can just do so much. Actually, it's unlimited. You know, that's so much better than. All I do is play. So a chromatic approach to the F minor. This is a B flat 7. Just makes the whole world of difference. Here's another one. See, or let's see. What I'm getting at, I mean, I could sit here and come up with idea after idea, and like I said, if I come up with a melody, then I just have to know how to harmonize the particular pitches, and that's more of the technical stuff. You know, how to harmonize particular melody tones for a given chord. So let me see if there's any questions. Nobody's saying anything. All right. So as far as the technical stuff goes, all I've really done so far is used, like I said earlier, the dominant approach and some chromaticism. And you would hear Joe Pass do that all the time, by the way. He would do stuff like so the first thing I did there was, instead of playing B flat 7 for 3 measures or 4 measures like you'd expect, instead of I did this, going to the 4 chord in the second measure. So 1, 2, 3. And all I did to hip that up a little bit, the tritone substitution into the 4 chord. Just this. But that one little move is so nice. Honestly, I was hearing a different melody, but I wanted to show you that one example to make it a little bit easier. But what I really was hearing was this. Sir. Da, da, da. Chromaticism again. So let's step back for a second. So for me, getting to the 4 chord is the first big, not a hurdle, but it's the first most important kind of harmonic movement where you have a lot of possibilities to get there. So I've just been showing you just some melodic content using F minor 7 to B flat 7, just straight up. The normal chord progression. With that, here's some examples of that. A chromatic approach into the F minor, but again, melody is so important. Here's another example. So using a dominant chord for the 2 instead of F minor, making it F dominant. Here's how that sounds again. So I guess I can move forward unless anybody has any questions. Hey Bala, how's it going? All right, everybody's being pretty quiet. Okay, so with the 2/5 to the 4 chord, the 2/5 F minor 7 B flat 7, as you heard, sounds great. You can also do what Wes did all the time, which was a tritone substitution of that entire progression. So F minor 7 B flat 7, the tritone that is B minor 7 to E7. So you could do things like and that's something Wes did all the time. As a matter of fact, it's built into that tune. Right here. So that was a big thing that Wes favored a lot. And again, these are the kind of things that you can use anytime you're dealing with a 5-to-1 sound. What I mean by that is, 5, even though I'm talking about the 4 chord, it's still the sound of a resolution, So some other things that you could do on this first half, or actually these first 4 measures of the blues, one thing I like to do, beside the stuff I've already showed you, is sometimes play more modally. So if I were coming out of the end of the blues again, So I was playing the B flat pedal, or the root I should say, and then just playing F minor 7, which you can hear is just a sound of sus. And then just kind of was alternating between the sound of F minor 7 and G minor 7. So that's all working because really what I'm thinking about is the Dorian mode off of F minor 7. And F minor 7 is the 2 chord, of B flat 7. They all belong to the same parent key of E flat major. Hopefully that's all making sense. So if I'm thinking F Dorian, same notes as E flat major. If I'm thinking B flat mixolydian, same notes as E flat major. So it's all from the same place. And like if you think about the sound of so what, that's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm using F minor, just playing F minor 7 to G minor 7. Now that's the 4th voicing that Miles, used, and that would sound like this. So all that stuff really sounds good. So the example I'm showing you is just using more traditional drop 2 F minor 7 and G minor 7 chords. That's all it is: F minor, G minor, F minor, chromatic approach, G minor 7, G flat minor 7, F minor 7. So all that in context would sound, I'll go from the last 4 measures of the blues. Okay, so that's, again, treating those first 4 measures in a more modal way. Like I said, just using F minor 7 and G minor 7, just thinking of the Dorian mode. So that stuff sounds great, just using the drop 2s. Sounds great. And the fourth voicing, so the same idea. All for the first 4, and then I probably would do something to set up the 4 chord in the 5th measure. So here's an example of the actual real form. Just like that. And that was the same example: F minor 7, G minor 7, F minor 7, or actually F minor 9. You can sit around and practice that all day long. That's such a nice sound. And if you want to, you can use those Johnny Smith type voicings, which really are just closed voice chords. Just root position F minor 7, G minor 7, A flat major 7. That was his signature sound. But what I'm getting at is that with a pedal. So does anybody have any questions about all that stuff? 154. Oh, can you recommend any drills or methods to be fluent with those voicings, which I'm familiar with but can't think of them fast enough? Yep. It's, I'll tell you what did it for me. It's a great question, thanks. What did it for me was I practiced just harmonizing a tune every single day. I would just open the fake book to a standard tune, whatever it may be, and just practiced harmonizing whatever melody note was given under each chord. So like for an example, let's say it was like My Romance. So the F is the first melody note that falls under B flat major. 7. So what I would do is I would just try all the typical guitar voicings, which are closed, drop 2, drop 3s. And just go through the whole thing and see which ones will work. You know, I could tell you right now the closed voice is impossible to play. The drop 2 would be this. So I'd get, actually would be nice. And the drop 3 is the one that we're most accustomed to. And over time, you stop having to do that, because as you can see, I could just make a mental note that, okay, if I have a major 7 chord and the 5th is in the melody, I've got 2 choices. And the most common one being this one, the drop. And second to that would be the drop 2, which is really nice. Then the next chord is E flat. I think it's E flat major, I'm not sure. And the point I'm going to make is it doesn't really matter. What I need to worry about is, what is this melody note in relation to this bass note? You know, so let's say it was E flat major. So the same process, I would try to figure out I would figure out the closed drop 2 and drop 3. So the closed voice chord in this case would end up being something that's actually playable. You know, it's nice. The drop 2 of this would be this. Let's see, let me double check this. No, this is wrong. Hold on, let me do this with you guys. Yeah, this is going to be bad because the note that I would drop would be the 7th. So I'd have B flat. It would be this. You know, this is actually a good chord for G minor 7, but not good for E flat major 9. So just to review, I've got 4. And then the E flat major I have so far, E flat, or this, which I do not like. And the drop 3 would be that. But what I was getting at before was if I wanted to make it dominant, I could, because really all I have to concern myself is what is the melody note with the bass note, and that would just change up things slightly. Like all those same voicings would, be almost the same, except for the major 7 would turn to a flat 7. So instead of E flat major 7, it's E flat dominant 7. Instead of it being, what was the other one I came up with? Instead of this, it'd be this. For E flat 7. And then for the dominant, for the drop 3 would be this. But I'm going to go back to this chord voicing here. So this is what I come up with for a drop 2 for an E flat 7 chord with the 9th in the melody, F. Whenever you're working with your dominant chord, explore the extensions. And this is really easy to do because your extensions are built off of either the root or the 5th. The extensions that are built off the root are flat 9, natural 9, and sharp 9. The extensions that are built off the 5th are flat 13, 13, and flat 5. So I can't move my 9th because it's the melody. But my 5th is right here. So here's E flat dominant, E flat dominant 9, sharp 11, E flat 9, flat 13, E flat 9, 13, and that chord is killing. So to answer your question, that is the process, because what you start getting good at is being able to do exactly what you asked me, which is harmonizing melody notes on the spot, on the fly. I can open up a fake book now. Obviously I've been doing this for a long time, but I can open up a fake book and harmonize a melody on the spot. You would think I had an arrangement for it that I've been working on, for years or whatever. Just because I really pretty much do have all of the possibilities all worked out, because I've done it so many times. So it seems like a big task, but it's not, because the guitar is really limited as to the amount of voicings you can play, using the notes from a 4-part chord, So I'm sure some of you guys are saying, great, but how do you know how to figure out the closed voices, drop twos, and drop threes? Well, I've got plenty of lessons on that on my website, but in a nutshell, voice chords are chords that are built within one octave of music. So if I was doing that E flat 7 chord with F is the ninth, below the ninth would be the seventh, below the seventh is the fifth, below the fifth is the third. And they'll always look really angular like that. But like I said, from the top note to the bottom note always remains within an octave. Then to find out your drop twos and drop threes, you use the closed voice as the framework for it. So if I look at my closed voice chord, the drop two is I just dropped the second note. The second note is D flat. So now I would have F, B flat, and G, and then the drop note D flat. And that's how I got that chord. Drop three, you drop the third tone. F, D flat, B flat, G. I drop the third note, which is B flat in this case. So I'd have F, D flat, G, and B flat. That's how you figure them all out. Just one word of caution when you're doing this way. When I was doing it, I would write them all out on a piece of manuscript paper. I thought it was really good for me, by the way, in retrospect. I don't think it was a waste of time. But doing that helped me realize the way these different voicings look on staff paper. Got pretty good at being able to sight read chords too, because just by the way that the notes were spread out, I can tell if they were closed, drop two, or drop three. I think it also helped just writing the notes down and made it kind of implanted in your brain a little better what the actual pitches are, you know. But if you're doing it on your guitar like I just showed you, realize that if I took this closed voice chord, F, D flat, B flat, G flat 9. When I drop the two, like in this case the second tone, D flat, I can't just leave my voicing here and drop the D flat down here. And you can't use the same shape. You have to revoice the tones. So what I was doing was just taking note of the three notes that were left, aside from the one that I dropped. That with F, B flat, and G. And I just put those on adjacent strings. F, B flat, G. And the last thing about all this stuff is that drop twos have all adjacent strings. Just like all these. Drop threes have 3 adjacent strings and a skip string, like all these guys. And the closed voice chords are all adjacent strings also, but they're very, very angular, like you get that. And that's it. Like I said, it's hard to deliver this information just me showing you on the instrument. A lot of the stuff I think really works better when you sit down with some manuscript paper and write it all out. But to answer your question from about 20 minutes ago, that's what I did. It was the most helpful thing I've ever done for comping, chord melody. It was just the best thing I ever did for myself in regards to learning the fretboard. And I'll tell you from the bottom of my heart too, I think that you'll remember them much more than if you bought a book on 100 great jazz guitar voicings. You're just looking at a set of grids and different voicings like that. Unless you apply it to music, like I'm doing here, you tend to not remember them. But as I said, if you go through that process, you start just remembering, okay, fifth in the melody of a major chord, really I have 1 or 2 choices tops. And you'll find that that's the case with most of them, so. All right, let's see. Okay, okay, I did that. Can you talk about some interesting substitutions for the 3-6-2-5 turnaround? Yeah. Well, just like taking the turnaround in blues. So here's just the end of the blues. So right there would be the turnaround. 1-6-2-5. All right. So it's the same thing I kind of was talking about earlier. These are my given bass notes. It's my turnaround. So just with that, it's the matter of what melody will I play, or what, and with that, what chord quality does it become? So say, dun 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 dun. Again, I'm making this be the priority, not the chords. But I'll just attach those notes to those bass notes. So da 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 da. So let me do that. Works great. And as I was doing that, I was realizing, well, I can do that. Sorry. But instead of C minor, I can make it C7. Then F7 with the flat 9. But then you have all the tritones as well. And I'm going to get to the 3, 6, 2, 5 in a minute, but you have the tritones as well. So instead of, I can play D7. Instead of F7, I play B7. That gives me, so to me, I mean, that's it, you know. So here's the 2-5 at the end of the song. Melody is everything, you know. And then you can use your theoretical part of your brain to generate possibilities, like I'm doing here. Trying the tritone substitution, trying different chord qualities. So the 3 chord that this person, who's this person? Deep Breeze was asking me about is, to me, the 3, 6, 2, 5 is just 1, 6, 2, 5, because your 3 chord, D minor 7 in this case, with B flat in the bass, it's just like a B flat major 9 chord in this case. Now we're talking about blues, so I want to have that flat 7 in there. So if I took my D minor 7 and put the A flat in there, that would give me a B flat 9 chord. So I can use that sound, D minor 7 flat 5, G7, C minor 7, F7 as a turnaround. Here again, here are the last 4 measures. Or that time using minor 7 flat 5s on both chords. Here's the 2-5 again at the end. Okay, I can still just use a regular D minor 7, that works fine, the 3 chord. So same thing. So that time I used one other device. I've talked about it already. I just used some chromaticism. I think I played something like. So here's again the last 4 measures of the blues. It's all chromatic. So I'm going to continue with this because this is, you know, it's all really the same thing, but I just want to show you how you can expand on all this. So the 3, 6, 2, 5. 3, 6, 2, 5 with some tritone substitutions. How about instead of 3 chord, play the tritone of that, which is A flat. So now I have. So I just think of the 1-6-2-5, the 3-6-2-5. They're all the same. They're all the same. If you come up with a melody, even if you don't come up with a melody, come up with a common tone. Just pick one tone. So let's say I pick F, and I wanted to practice my turnarounds. I could do the 3-6-2-5. Then try the tritone substitutions of those. Change some chord qualities maybe. Major 7. Major 7. Those are all major 7s except for the first chord, the 3 chord. This again, just using one tone. Tritone of D is A flat dominant. It could be A flat major though. It could be A flat sus. Let's see how that sounds. So all I'm using are really 3 tools. Tritone substitution, chromaticism, and I'm trying to change the function of the chords, and it's based on whatever melody note I have. So I just look at the melody tone, look at the bass note, and think, okay, what kind of chord can this be? And honestly, I'm only scratching the surface because I'm playing mostly real traditional harmony. You know, I could get into whole things where you were talking about utilizing that melody tone on top as part of a major triad with this bass tone. So creating all these slash chords. I don't know if I want to go into that right now because it's pretty, well, it's a little bit more advanced. But you know, that's really it. So you can try experimenting with that on your own if you're finding some of the stuff I'm saying right now, fundamental for you or whatever. But that's what I'm trying to say to you guys that, excuse me for a second, these are all screwed up, the glasses. If you go through on your instrument, learn all your chord voicings, meaning your close, drop 2, drop 3. So drop 2 and 4 works, but usually only when the root is in the bass. But those are the main voicing types on guitar. Then you've got fourth voicings and fifths, and those are some other things. But the most of what we're dealing with, especially in traditional tunes, standards, are what I just explained to you. So there is nothing wrong with learning your major scales and harmonizing them. You know, doing all the inversions. I mean, it's really good. I did it. I think that at some point in my life I realized that I'd get on a bandstand and all that practice that I was doing, like I just kind of showed you an example of, it wasn't doing anything for me being a creative, artistic comper. Because I'm sitting here in a practice room just kind of going through the motions of technique, which does nothing other than get you fretboard knowledge, which is of course important. But as soon as I started doing what I had mentioned to you earlier, which is harmonizing a tune every day, everything just changed. And I started developing a large sense of comping vocabulary, just like I would learn lines. I was learning comping riffs, but based on melody. As you guys know, man, these standard tunes that those melodies were paramount to the composers. You see the same chord progressions in every single one of these tunes, so what really made them super special was the melody, you know? And sometimes I would find myself harmonizing these melodies and say, man, this melody is beautiful. I can use this during, comping, man, whenever I have the opportunity to, just because it's so beautiful. So to me, that's the solution. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't go through the more tried and true method of just learning all your voicings on your guitar. I mean, I think it's important. But I think what I'm showing you now, as far as creating the drop 2s, drop 3s, and closed voice chords off of a tune, will do everything you really would hope for, Okay, let me see some other questions that have come up. Let's see. I'm playing a 2-5-1 to the 4, the atrium bridge, for example. Do you approach the F major as part of C majors? I'm not really thinking of it, honestly. If you look at Vagard's question, I'm not really thinking of it as key-wise at all. I'm just not. You know, I'm just thinking, and I hate to be repetitive. I'm just thinking of how the melody, how it sounds. You know, it's still a 2-5-1, regardless of where it is in the tune. Like, but that being said, there are some occasions where, you know, things sound better based on a particular situation. Like a good example is chromatic stuff. If I have chromatic 2-5s, all the time the natural sounding extensions sound better, but I'm not thinking about, okay, I'm in A flat, I'm in G, I'm in G flat. I'm not thinking anything like that. So I'm looking at my speaker. Anyway, so I'm not looking, I mean, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about how it sounds in the tune. So if I'm at A train, bridge coming up. Has nothing to do with key at all. Doesn't have to do with C or F. It's just the sound of a dominant chord, C7, resolving to F major. And really my big issue would be, well, do I want to have altered extensions on it, or do I want to have natural ones? You know, and both sound great. Here's an example of both. I forgot the bridge. Oh, I did all nothing. Here's the bridge. That's a 2-5 with natural extensions. That's the nice melody. An altered one might be. And that works great too. So I'm not thinking about either. And I don't think it's a good idea to do that. Thanks, D8014. Barry, I'd love to have you as my teacher, but I also as a friend. Oh man, it's my pleasure to be here, you guys. I'm glad that I'm helping out. And like, you know, honestly, when I was thinking about this, is because I get this question so much, but I didn't want to do another video lesson on this topic because I've already done it. As I've shown you, even, you know, we kind of ventured off into A train for a moment. It's all the same techniques, so it wouldn't be anything really new. And I've been trying to make a point on the video lessons to at least give a lot more comping demonstrations when I'm working. Like, as a matter of fact, I'm just about to post Alone Together. I finished it up today. I just have to, you know, do all the stuff I'm required to do in order to upload it and all that stuff. But, you know, I made a point in that one to do a lot of comping examples, you know. But as I said, for these specific lessons about comping, I'd just be from tune to tune. So I thought, why don't I just do a live thing and see if I can answer people's questions that they're having about it. Okay, the idea with the A flat sus and the turnaround was definitely something I'll have to try. Yeah, as a matter of fact, don't stop there. Remember, it's all bass tone, melody tone. What can you put in between? That's really it. Try them all. Some of them are going to sound amazing. Some of them are not going to work at all, you know. But as I said, over time, you start just cataloging the fact, cataloging the ones that do work, situations where they work, and you get this great feeling of freedom to comping, and don't feel so, you know, stuck in a rut, like I only know 2 or 3 voicings. And the truth is, that's the same as I know. There are only 2 or 3 on any given chord situation. Just how do you put it together so it sounds, you know, like, you know, musical. Okay, enough talking. All right. Hi Barry, could you please talk about groove on comping for a vocalist in a duo setting? Take a solo by yourself when there's no one comping. Yeah, I could do that. So I mean, vocalist, saxophone, doesn't really matter. If it's just me, there's no bass. Obviously, I'm going to probably try to be more supportive in that register. You know, low tones. So if it was a tune, you didn't give me a tune, but let's say, you know, Days of Wine and Roses or whatever. then I'm working with a vocalist. Okay, so the first thing, you know, is setting the tune up for the person. So I've run across this a lot, that this is not for all vocalists, but a lot of vocalists really want it to be a super obvious thing, so they're confident about coming in, and to not try to play something ultra, you know, hip and rhythmic, to make them the least bit nervous coming in at the right time. So super straight up. So that whole intro you play there is stuff that, yeah, probably over time I've played bits and pieces of those melodic ideas before, but if I did it again, it would be something totally different. I'll make the point by showing you that. But it's all melody, and I'm truly hearing the melody as I'm playing. Let's do another one. Let's see, I could do something with a pedal maybe. 3, 4. Okay, so now we're in time. So say it's here. As far as your question about groove, it's the same thing, you know, with I'm playing solos, playing melodies, or playing chords, man. It's like you've got to internalize that pocket, you know, so. That's one time through the song, and like I said, I'm just, you know, trying to. You can see probably by my body language, I'm just trying to dig in, you know, groove out. I'm not thinking about scales, modes, chords. I'm not thinking about anything. You know, I'm picking a tune obviously that I know. If I were reading a lead sheet, it would probably be a similar, sound the same, but I would having to focus a lot of energy on, you know, reading it. But I mean, that's it. It's, you know, teaching time feel is, and to me, possible. I mean, if somebody said, "Hey, how do I get a good time feel?" I would say play with the recordings of the guys that have the time feel that you admire. And that's the secret to that. There's no book on that. So but that's a whole other subject. And then there was something else about that. Oh yeah, so when you get to the soloing part, yeah, it's something that I struggled with too, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. You know, in other words, meaning, do I start, like right now I haven't been with a pick. So I go back and forth as to, you know, how to approach that. But if, let's say it was the end of the song, she's singing in the days of one and so here comes a solo. Here's solo without pick first. So the days of one. So solo. But you could hear my right hand. I don't have chops for single line playing. You know, Joe Pass was great at it. There's a guy in France by the name of Sylvain Courtney. If you guys haven't checked him out, you should. It was unbelievable right hand technique. So a lot of times I'll just have my pick, you know, ready to go if I were doing a duo gig. You know, so what I do, I don't know if you can see, yeah, that I take the pick and just kind of put it between the knuckles of my second finger. This way I still have, I still have that access to that finger from comping. You know, although it's there. And then when it's solo, on going, you know. But you know, I don't. As I was doing it, I liked them both, and I might just end up doing just kind of more of a chord melody thing, execute single lines, a la somebody like Joe Pass, who was phenomenal at it. Even though he, you know, just had okay single line technique compared to like a classical guitar player, you know, but he was able to get it to a point where it just sounded unbelievable, you know. So that's how I handle those situations. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah, see, like Paul, you know, asked me, thank you for the compliments I mean. Could you provide some examples in PDF or suggest one of your lessons that have some of these blues comping examples? You know, like again, I don't even differentiate between them, whether the blues comping or rhythm changes or any tune. It's just melodies and chords, you know. So that's why I thought it'd be a good idea to do this to kind of clarify that, because trying to think any of the comping. I mean, who did this? Yeah, Paul Westbrook. Any of the comping lessons that I've done are full of you know, comping examples like we're talking about now. On some of the videos, I did, you know, some more comping examples that I had written out. Unfortunately, I can't remember what they are. I wish I could tell you. Excuse me, but hopefully just from watching this and hearing, you know, my approach to this, you'll see that it's just not about, you know, blues or, like I said, or a specific tune, you know, because you'll end up, if you think of it in terms of that, you'll end up having the same issue on every single tune you play, you know. Copy examples for Mr. PC or copy examples for Naima or whatever. It's just, like I said, just, you know, trying to be real creative melodically and then harmonizing the melody with the chords. I wish I had a better answer for you guys. Let's see, Maury, what ideas do you have for comping with a tempo really fast portfolio? Yeah, that's a good question too. On situations like that, when tunes are getting fast, I play much more rhythmically, and I tend to also kind of switch over to thumb comping, a la Wes Montgomery. It just gets a much more percussive rhythmic sound, which is what I want. So if we had, you know, let's see, like so that fast. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Stuff like that. So real rhythmic, real punctual. As I'm saying these things, I'm just thinking that would things have changed if I played another chord? I think it's, yeah, I would, knowing that if I were in a trio situation where if I had, you know, bass and drums with me, I probably wouldn't have to do that constantly. But that's kind of the vibe. Let me imagine myself with bass and drums. so a combination of maybe some things that were sustained, but the big thing to take away from that was that I dropped all of the low-end voicings to stay out of the way of this imaginary bass player that I'm playing with. And that's really, really important to not, mess with that, because that just leads to kind of just chaos. So if you're playing with a bass, advice would be to stay clear of the low register of your voicings, unless, they're specific occasions, something that's very rhythmic or part of an arrangement. But to really make a clean sounding rhythm section, I would definitely avoid that. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question, Maury. Let's see. Nice palm on the. That's funny, Gregory. I've had people say that to me. It's funny too, is I never even thought about doing it. It's one of those things that I just started doing because of the necessity to do that. And I remember reading an article. I don't know if you guys know the guitar player out of San Francisco, Tuck Andrus, who's just a phenomenon. The guy's, a genius. And I was reading an article about him, how he had come up with all these methods of, playing several time. And it was just that he was saying a similar thing, that it just kind of came out of necessity. There were things that he was hearing that he wanted to play, and he had to kind of modify things to make them happen on the gigs. And then that's what he was doing on the gigs. He sat, made it an exercise, and figured it out. Obviously, what I'm talking with the pick does not compare to all that, but it was a similar thing where, I needed it quickly, and this became a way to do it. So if it's a magic trick, it's the only one that I know. I had the A-tray question. I meant when you're playing the lines, same exact thing. Varg, it's the same thing. It does, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anytime. Let me read the question so you guys know what I'm talking about. It says, I had the A-train question. I meant when you're playing lines, would you play on the F major 7 as part of the C major scale, notes of the F Lydian C major scale, or as a temporary change to a new key, F major scale? Like I said, it doesn't matter, because as long as the dominant situation is, it's a resolving dominant chord. For those of you who are, don't understand what I'm talking about right now, I've done a good lesson on that. It's called Dominant Chord Study. And I'll explain to you why or how there are really two different ways dominant chords function. But when a dominant chord is functioning like a 5, it doesn't matter where it is in the song. Because the options are the same. As far as the resolution to F major, would I play Lydian or just major? It depends. I hate this, but it depends on how it would sound. I think in a tune like A-Train, which is such a standard tune, I probably would be playing B flats. But I'll also say, use the issue further, is that a lot of times on major 7 sounds, I'll kind of skip that tone completely. This is something that I got from George Benson. I would hear him do it all the time, where he put like a 6-note scale. No B flats at all. No B flats. So it's a problem. But if I wanted to emphasize the sound of Lydian, then I would. But I think that's too modern a sound, personally, for A-Train. But like I said, I'm not thinking about key centers at all. Because, again, I try to think as little as possible, especially when playing. I'm trying to think about anything. But, yeah, that's a tone you just kind of have to treat gingerly. But like I said, I'm thinking about on a specific note. I'm not basically, do I want Lydian or do I want major? Do I want either one? Like I said, that 6-note scale I just showed you is a good one. Glad it's helping out, Rafa. Nalini. Oh, that's fine. Fine, I'm glad to see you. Thanks, Daniel. Same thing to you. Fensterbaum. How dare you show your face here after making fun of my hair, man. Let's see. Could you maybe show some comping you would do on footprints? Break it all. If you mean the strange break, you just mean the chord progression, that part. So one of those tunes. It has such a vibe to it. So this, as soon as I hear that, I hear modal, you know. Then 4 chord. That's C minor. Then that is this. So I'll break down some of the things I was doing. Voicings in fourths, and then the third on top, a la Miles. So what? But rather than just be stuck there, I've taken the time to practice harmonizing the entire scale. Dorian mode off of C in this case. Sorry, I lost my... You know? The same thing for the F minor. Harmonize these different modes, F Dorian here, C minor. Then I did something that I stole from Oliver Nelson. Oliver Nelson has got that great song. Forget the name of the tune, but anyway, he does. Sorry. That's a great sound. And it's just a minor triad with the ninth. So you get this great cluster here. So he's harmonizing, it's really strange to be honest with you, because he's playing C minor, then D minor, 9. It's got an E natural in there. But I was using that sound, I was comping the... minor. Here, this is all fourth voicings. It's an inversion of fourths. You know, this doesn't look like a fourth voicing, but here's fourths right here. Then the F is a second. But anytime you have a configuration like that, like a fourth and a second, it's an inversion of fourths. Because watch what happens if I take the F that's on top, drop it an octave, fourths. So the same thing again, I'm just taking this particular grouping of notes that's diatonic to C Dorian, which is F, E flat, and B flat, and just harmonizing it the rest of the C Dorian scale. So the same thing, you know, just to use this as an analogy, if I sat home and practiced, just getting the sound together, you know? I said, okay, great, I did that, you know, now I'll go play some video games or whatever. You know, you're missing out on the biggest point, which is then, you know, you've got to practice. So you're taking a tune like this tune that we're talking about, the Wayne Shorter tune, and create melodies with it. Just try to be musical with it. If you don't take that step, then you're just, you know, practicing without the best part. You're leaving out the best part. Let's try to turn it into art, you know. So as far as those last things I think you're talking about, it's just, you know, the real books, the earlier real books had that progression wrong. They originally had it written. It's not. It's just F sharp minor 7, B7, E minor 7, A7. So it's a series of 2 5s. But it's, again, here's a perfect example here. This is a perfect example of a tune with great melody notes for your 2 5. So if any of us saw F sharp minor 7, B7 on the lead sheet, we'd do the same thing. We'd all do the same exact thing, that, you know? E minor 7, A7. We would do the same thing because we're not dealing with the melody at all. But the melody in this tune is, it's like it's me. It's killing. Then it's no, I'm forgetting now. That's it. Oh, I did it wrong. Let me do it again for you guys. Sorry. So you get F sharp minor, E11, B7 sharp 9, E minor 7 flat 5, A7. So that, it shouldn't resolve, it shouldn't work, but it sounds great. A7 going to C minor. So that's a great example. I'm glad that came up, because that's a great example of, you could be kind of just playing through a real book and working on what we've been talking about for a long time now, just to get good notes with a bass tone, and not think about, like some of you guys were saying, not thinking about what key you're in. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of essentially, what can you squeeze between B natural, F sharp down here. What can you squeeze in between there? It's really, there's a lot of possibilities. So, all right. Let's see. Varg, thanks, man. Drew, how's it going? Good to see you. Stolen Moments, correct. Thank you. Derek. Hey Barry, any albums out there that are mostly jazz blues where I can get killer ideas from? Yeah, like every Wes Montgomery recording ever made, man. He and Greene. Almost, or like kind of the fathers of like modern jazz blues guitar playing, I think. Obviously there's guys like other guys who are around, like guys like Kenny Burrell and people like that were killing, but for whatever reason, the time feel of Wes and Greene just hit me way harder. So that's where I would start. It's especially like, not especially Wes, but Wes. Almost every chorus that he improvised was like a new melody on a tune. It's just, that's why we bow down to this guy, because like I said, we get so caught up in the theory and stuff. If it was that, then we'd all be Wes Montgomerys. Was being able to analyze chord progressions and all that stuff. It really has, I can't say nothing to do with it, but very little compared to having such a melodic sense as Wes. So that's definitely where I would go. Obviously, George Benson, took the torch from Wes and taking the blues playing on guitar to a whole other level. But that's a lot to bite off if kind of exploring this. My recommendation would be Greene and Wes Montgomery. Let's see. Sure, Paul. Good to see you. Lieb, thanks. I'm glad you're checking out the video lessons. And Joshua, how about doing a whole lesson on footprints? Yeah, I should do that. And actually, I'm going to add that to my list. That's a great idea. Thanks. So anybody else have any other questions before, let me see how many have been hanging around. Yeah, we've been out here over an hour already. Hopefully the sound and video quality has continued to be okay. Does anybody have any more questions before I say goodbye? While I'm waiting for you, because like I said, I'm about 30 seconds behind. I'd just like to say again, thanks to you guys for being here. If you haven't checked out my lessons on Vimeo On Demand, please do that. It's easy to find. I'll put a link in the bottom of this video after we're done. I've got one technique lesson that's for free, and then I just posted 3 lessons that are more technical lessons about using Ableton Live and Drum Genius as part of your practice routine. And I also put one up there about the setup I have here in my office, the gear and that kind of stuff. So, all right, so I guess that's it. Always a pleasure, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the great questions, too. Hold on. Paul's asking, coming to New York. I am. As a matter of fact, I have a whole bunch of cool announcements coming up. I don't want to do them here, but one in particular, which I know I'm incredibly excited about, and I'll let you guys in on it really, really soon, probably within a couple of weeks or so. But I will be in New York at the bar next door, the weekend of October 28th, and the night before that at the Deer Head Inn in Pennsylvania on the 27th. I may have something going on the 29th in New York too, although I'm not sure. But yeah, I will definitely be up there. Oh yeah, Ashby, forgive me for not pronouncing your name correctly. The spelling of the guitar player is Sylvain, Sylvain. Courtney, Courtney. Brilliant right hand. And brilliant like intellect, man. The guy is just a genius guitar player. Everybody should know about him. Pick and stone, copying with 2 or 3 notes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just another texture. I still think the same thing applies. You know, just as far as making melody the paramount thing. But yeah, I mean, 2 and 3 notes are nice. I mean, the Stolen Moments example is a good example of just 3 notes. 4th voicings are all good examples of just smaller structures that, just like I said, it's just a whole different color in your arsenal there. Derek Stampler, when do you use half-hold dominant chords? Dominant chords. It gives you flat 9, sharp 9, natural 13, and flat 5. Okay. Bala, I'm not sure what you're asking me with your shows. All right, guys, all the best. Thanks for being here. I'm going to do another one of these probably sometime next month. Maybe I could try to do, I don't want to, I'll try maybe 1 a month. But like I said, if you haven't my website on Vimeo On Demand, please do. It's just called Barry Greene Video Lessons. Hope to see you there. Everybody have a great day. Take care. Bye.